Hello friends, Mandar here. I'm back with another video. Today's topic is very important to people who are in the adjustment of status process, especially for the employment based category. One of the most popular questions that I get is such and such is my priority date for EB2 or EB3 for the backlog countries such as India. When would it become current? So I'm going to cover my speculation for the next 3 months. So July, August and September, which will be the last quarter of FY 2021. Where would dates land in these 3 months by the end of the year? I will also let you know how do you read Visa Bulletin. Now there is a chart A and chart B and there is a cryptic description on the site. I'll just simplify it for you how to read these charts. And I will also cover some questions about concurrent filing of the final stage of green card. So if you're interested in this topic, watch this video until the end and let's get started. If you are here for the first time, welcome. My name is Mandar and I make immigration related videos for US and Canada. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so anything that I say on this video or on my channel is for information purpose only. And for your specific immigration needs, you should hire a competent immigration lawyer. Now, if you are in the process of green card for your employment based category, and particularly if you are from the backlog countries such as India or China, you know what you are doing every month. You have gone through the PERM and you have gone through the labor certification and 140 application, and now you are waiting for your priority date to become current. So what do? Every month after month, you go to the Visa Bulletin that is published on second and third week of the month to see for your particular category if the date has become current. Now many people have questions about the two charts that we see in Visa Bulletin. So there are two charts for family based category and then there are two charts for employment based category. Typically the State Department refers to them as chart A and chart B. So chart A is nothing but final action dates chart and chart B is filing date chart. So I'll give you a quick summary of how to read this chart A versus chart B, what do they mean, so that will be beneficial for you when you see these charts in the future. So let's look at it. Now here is the Visa Bulletin for June 2021 on travel.state.gov website. So now as you can see, and I go through these Visa Bulletins every month comparing the last one with the current one or the future one. So starting June 1st, which is tomorrow, this is the Visa Bulletin that is going to take effect. Up until the midnight of today, it's going to be May Visa Bulletin, but starting tomorrow, it's going to be June 2021 Visa Bulletin that should be referred. So now they have given a lot of numbers in this first section, which is statutory numbers. So when they say statutory numbers, it is the numbers that have been approved by the Congress to be used for a certain category of visa, and I'll cover that in some other video. But just for you, just at a high level, there are about 226,000 visas available for family based category, and there are about 140,000 visas which is immigrant visas available for employment based category, and further they are subdivided into different numbers. The first section, they clearly mention that there are a couple of sections, like 5 subsections within the family sponsored preference: F1, F2A, F2B, F3 and F4. So F1 is for unmarried sons and daughters of United States citizens, which is 23,400 plus visas, plus any number of visas that are not required for the fourth preference. The second one is spouse and children of unmarried sons and daughters of permanent residents. The F2A category, the third, is spouse and children of permanent residents. F2B is unmarried sons and daughters 21 years of age or older of permanent residents. Third, F3, married sons and daughters of US citizens, and there is a number for that. And fourth, F4 category is brothers and sisters of adult US citizens. Now each of these sections are followed by chart A, which is final action dates chart, and chart B, which is dates for filing chart. So the one that I showed before was the family based section, but if you come down, there is also a section for employment based preference. Now let me quickly go through numbers at a very high level, and then I'll tell you the difference between final action date chart versus the filing dates chart. So employment based preference category is subdivided into 5 different categories. The first is first preference, which is also called EB1, employment based first preference. These are the priority workers. So 28.6 of the worldwide employment based preference levels are given to this category. The second is the second preference category, which is also referred to as EB2. So these are members of professionals holding advanced degree or persons of exceptional ability. 28.6% of the worldwide employment based preference levels. EB3 is skilled workers, professionals or other workers. Again 28.6. So if you see, it's evenly distributed. So EB1, EB2 and EB3 get even percentage of the total number of visas for EB category, which is 140,000. So 28.6 is the even percent distribution for EB1, EB2 and EB3 category. Now fourth preference is 7.1% of the 140, and fifth preference category is for EB5, which is also called EB5. It's an investor program. Now let's talk about these two charts. The first one is final action dates chart, and the filing dates chart is the chart B. Now final action date chart is the chart that tells you the dates where the USCIS is actually currently processing the applications. Unless your country is specifically mentioned in any of these columns, everyone else falls under all chargeability areas except those listed. So if you are from say Sri Lanka, it's not among these 6 countries that are backlogged. So you fall into all chargeability. So that's what it means. The next 6 columns are what I would call is backlogged or oversubscribed countries. So China, mainland, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, they have bucketed them into same. India, Mexico, Philippines and Vietnam. These are backlogged countries, or in other words, what it means is there are more number of applicants from these countries applying into these visa categories than there are visas available for that particular category. Hope that makes sense. So they are oversubscribed. Now what C means is they are undersubscribed. If you fall in that EB category, you are ready to go. Basically, once your application is submitted, it will be immediately picked up to be processed. That's what C means. C means it's that category is current. Now if you see a date in a column, say for instance there is EB second preference category, which is EB2, there is a date here of 1st of December 2010. What it means is this category for India is currently overly subscribed, which means there are too many number of applicants than there are number of visas available for this particular category and for this particular country. So that's why there is a date. Now I'll come to what this chart actually means, but now let's keep going. Now there is a third category which is also called U. U means unauthorized. So in that case, what it means is there are no visa numbers available in that category, so you are not allowed to even apply for I-485. Currently we don't see any use, which is a good news for everybody. So there is, but I have seen when the visa numbers become unavailable for a certain country for a certain category of visa. Now the second chart, which is chart B, also follows the same convention, so I won't go into those. Now let's look at what is the basic difference between final action date chart and filing date chart. If there is a C in the column, that means your application will be immediately processed by USCIS and you will get a green card. It will take its processing time, but basically they are not waiting on your application. But if there is a date in this column, what it means that any application that has a priority date of this particular date or before will be current, and if your date is beyond this date, higher than this date, then your application will not be picked. In other words, they don't have a visa number available for you. Now filing date chart is actually calculated. Final action date chart as against is something that you get reported from consulates or USCIS processing centers to say this is what we are currently processing. Now dates for filing chart is something that is actually created by Department of State. So as Charlie mentioned in his videos, he kind of gets all these numbers from different departments, such as all the consulates and the USCIS centers around the United States. He gets all those numbers. So then he sees, okay, this is the demand, and these are the number of visas that are available as of now. So based on that, he calculates what is the date that should go into this chart. So this chart is totally built by Department of State. I'm talking about the dates for filing chart, but final action date chart is the information that he gets and he has to publish as it is. So there is no control on these dates, that this is the position in the line where we are currently processing the green card. So the chart A is something that they get the information and they just have to publish it, whereas chart B is something that they can build based on the information that they get from consulates. Say for instance, there is an airport and people are trying to get out of that town or city. So now there are too many people at the airport and there are only limited airplanes. So what filing date chart will allow you to do is they will allow a certain set of people to get inside the airport. That doesn't mean that they have a plane waiting and they can immediately take the boarding pass and go. All that means is it allows a group of people to enter the airport and sit in the waiting area until their plane arrives. That is filing date chart. Now, final action date chart is, say for instance, there are 1,000 people already arrived at the airport and they have been allowed inside the airport. Now there is only one plane available which has a seating capacity of 100. So now they only select 100 people and give them a boarding pass, and that makes them sure that now they have a visa number or they have a boarding pass to board that particular plane. So only 100 people out of the 1,000 will now have a pass to board the plane. Now once that plane is boarded and once that plane takes off, there is another plane that comes along. It also has a capacity of 100. Now they will issue another 100 boarding pass from the pool of the applicants that are sitting in the airport. So Charlie has control on how many people can come inside the airport and sit in the waiting area and not having to wait outside. Whereas the final action date chart is the one where you actually get your boarding pass to board the plane immediately. That's when you actually get the boarding pass and you are on a plane which takes off. So that is the analogy I would like to think. When you are outside the airport, you have no control. It's like you are in your perm and 140 and your date is not current. So you are outside the airport. Whereas filing date chart, when it becomes current, you are allowed inside the airport. And once you get your boarding pass, that means that's when you have the final action date chart current. So think about it for a minute and you'll get the analogy. So I hope you understood the difference between filing date chart and final action date chart. Filing date chart is built based on the total number of visas available for that particular fiscal year. So at the beginning of the year in October, Department of State takes into account, okay, how many number of visas are available for that particular category for this entire year. So say for instance, like last year, there were 262,000 visas, total number of visas available for EB category. This was because of the spillover of 122,000 and the base 140,000 visas. So now they took those number of visas and then they compared it against how many people are in the queue or what is the demand. And then they came up with the filing date chart. Now typically USCIS allows the filing dates chart to be used initially in the year. So say for instance in October, November and December, they typically allow filing date chart to be used to apply for your adjustment of status or 485. Starting January, they flip it over to final action date chart. Now you would ask me, how is final action date chart calculated? It is based on the processing speed of USCIS and the consulates. So every month they process a set of applications. They get a set of visa numbers from Department of State for processing during that month. Everyone, based on the processing volume each month, these dates in the final action date chart would move forward, and it is expected that by the end of the fiscal year, the final action date chart would be the same as filing date chart. So when you say speculation on where, or if somebody gives you a prediction, it is purely based on a simple math. You count the number of months that are remaining in the current fiscal year. Say for instance, this is June. Now there is July, August and September, 3 months remaining. And then you see the difference between the final action date chart date for a particular category and then the filing date chart date. So let's take an example. Say for instance, you want to predict for EB2 India. So the final action date chart date for EB2 India is December 1st of 2010. What it means is currently USCIS is processing any application that has a priority date of 1st of December 2010 or earlier. Now if you come down to filing dates chart for India EB2, the date is 1st of August 2011. Now what you do is you take a difference. So 1st of December 2010 to 1st of August of 2011. So the difference is 8 months. So what I would say is, so by the for September Visa Bulletin, the final action date chart for EB2 should be around 1st of August 2011. The difference between the dates is 8 months, but there are only 3 months remaining. If you are optimistic, you would say the dates for EB2 India would move by 3 months every month for the rest of the year. For example, for July Visa Bulletin, India EB2 date will move to 1st of March 2011. For August Visa Bulletin, the EB2 India will move to June, and for the September Visa Bulletin, EB2 India should reach August 2011. So that is the simple calculation. Now let's look at EB3. EB3, if you compare the dates between final action chart and the filing date chart, it is 1st of November 2011 to January 1st of 2014. So for EB3 there is a difference of 26 months. So basically divide 26 by 3, it would come somewhere around 9 months. So you can expect EB3 dates to move for the next 3 months by 9 months every month. So I hope that makes sense and you are able to read the Visa Bulletin going forward. If you have any more questions, just list them down into the comment section below and I will try to answer my best. Now specific question that I have been getting is it safe to apply concurrently if your date is, say for instance you are from EB2 India, then USCIS is currently allowing the final action date chart to be used. So if your date is current, you could actually apply for I-140, I-485 which is adjustment of status, and EAD and advanced payroll card all at once. Now the question that I get asked is there a risk in applying concurrently for I-140 and 485? My answer is no, there is no risk. I-140 will take its time. Before it's approved, they will not start on your 485 application. But in the meantime, if you do this, you would still be allowed to go through the further stages such as biometrics if it's needed, and you will also get your EAD card. So that is the advantage of applying concurrently. Now the another question was, is there any risk of applying for I-140 in premium processing? I would say no, there is no risk. As long as your application is complete and your documentation is up to date, I don't see any risk in applying premium for I-140. I'll continue to make my prediction videos just so that you can get an idea of when you might be able to get your green card. So I hope you got value out of this video. If you did, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.